Hello again. Welcome to the final lesson and section in our client onboarding course, the New Client Questionnaire. In this lesson, you'll learn how to ask the right questions at the beginning of the client-agency relationship so that you can gather the information you need about the client company, their customers, and their competition. We're going to share with you a tool that will help you get the answers you need, a very well thought out and thorough version of a new client questionnaire that consists of 22 questions covering the topics that will give you the most insight into your client's existing strategies and goals. This questionnaire was developed by Maz's very own Brittany Muller, senior SEO scientist and all-around search marketing genius. We appreciate her letting us share it with you. You can access the new client questionnaire by clicking the link below this video to open it in Google Drive. The version you open will be read-only and also pretty visually plain, but if you click on File and Make a Copy, you can save an editable version and add your agency's branding, change the name, or whatever else you need to do before sending it to your clients. Now remember, we're recommending that you wait and send the questionnaire to a new client after you've held your first kickoff meeting. This should cause less procrastination on the client's part because they'll feel more prepared to answer questions after your initial discussions have taken place. After the first kickoff meeting, they should also have a little more information and confidence about SEO in general, so they'll have a better understanding of why you're asking some of the questions you're asking. Some of the answers you get may be things you've already talked about in your meeting, but again, that's okay because writing them out allows those ideas to crystallize and provides a document you can refer to throughout the project. Let's look at what's in the new client questionnaire in a little more depth. The questions are intended to cover three main areas: the client company, their customer, and their competition. In order to accomplish the client's SEO goals, you need to understand who the client is and how they've operated so far, who the customer is who will be reading your content and navigating the website, and what the competitive landscape surrounding the client is like. We'll look at the questions themselves and some example answers from a hypothetical client in Colorado that offers IV and oxygen therapy. The very first question asks your client for a brief history of their company. Throughout the questionnaire and your early conversations with the client, you're going to gain a lot of concrete information about the way the business is run, how they make their money, and what the products are. This first question is asking for the client's story, the human element. Why do they do what they do? What inspires them? This question will help you understand and relate to your client better than any other, and it will help you write genuine content that really communicates what the brand is all about. Our example client explains that the owners' backgrounds are in medical sales and that they began to research IV therapy after realizing there was an opportunity in their market. This answer begins to paint a picture of what the client is after and who their customer is. The next questions address another important concern: cash flow. Understanding the value of the company's offerings and knowing what products or services make the most money can help you prioritize your SEO efforts. And asking what activities turn a prospective customer into a qualified lead will help you organize your content and navigation strategy to help push customers along the sales funnel toward conversion. In our example, the client states what a first visit to their clinic costs, and then gives a fantastic answer to our qualified lead question. They identify two different types of leads with different motivations. These two types of customers will naturally engage in very different search behaviors and will be drawn to different types of content. It'll be important to keep both customers in mind while thinking about site architecture, content strategy, and link building. In the next answer, the example client also lists their three most profitable services and explains that what they really want is to develop a membership program to lock in recurring monthly value. This information helps you understand their ideal sales funnel. Next, you're asking about the client's goals. Be aware that they might not have a fantastic answer to this question at this point. They may respond with something as simple as increase sales. When you go over this answer in your second kickoff meeting, talk about the smaller milestones that will occur along the way to increasing sales by a certain amount, like growing organic search visibility by a specific percentage, and be sure to point out how the plan you've developed will help them reach both the micro goals you've set for them and their ultimate goal of selling more. Again, developing a full SEO project plan with milestones and task prioritization will be covered in another Moz Academy course. Now we're getting into some questions about the client's customers. Question 6 is pretty straightforward. You're asking where the customers are located. This answer will help you decide whether local or international SEO tactics need to be a part of your strategy. In this case, local search will definitely need to be included since people who live in and visit the area may be searching for the services this client offers. Our example client also describes their perfect customer very well. This answer allows you to see what kind of tone the customer expects from written content, what their concerns are, what they're definitely not concerned about, and even the other kinds of websites or social media where they might be spending time when they're online. We also get a hint at a potential problem you'd want to address, fear of needles, which could be mollified by some targeted content or even by the use of branding and colors that make the client feel trustworthy. And we see that a lot of the SEO strategy for this client will need to focus on educating the target customer base. Now we're asking about the competition. Since this is a client with a brick-and-mortar location, they're telling us who their top local competitors are, as well as their top competitors independent of location. This client is savvy enough to realize that nationally, other companies offering exactly the same services aren't their only competition. They know that their ideal customer is also likely to visit a primary care doctor or a medi-spa for similar treatments. Your client might not come to the same realizations and might need help seeing who their true competitors are. You can add your own notes to go over in your second kickoff meeting if you think this might be the case. The next two questions give us some insight about the SEO work that's been done for the client up to this point. This hypothetical client has a pretty familiar story. They hired an SEO agency to do some work a few years ago, and now they're worried they might have some bad links pointing to their site. Now they have one person handling all their marketing, and that person probably doesn't have enough time to focus on in-depth SEO. Here you have a chance to tout your abilities a bit. Explain that you can look into those bad links as part of your strategy and determine whether they need to be addressed, and that you can improve on what's been shown in those recent reports. These next three questions are fun because they guide both the agency and the client into thinking about link building. You're asking for linkable assets that already exist, like this client's testimonial from the very link-worthy Dr. Oz, and any PR activity they may have engaged in so far, so you can tell how receptive the audience has been. You're also asking for their ideal link building scenario. If they could be mentioned anywhere on the web, where would that be? This client has some great insights about the types of publications and sites that might link to them: medical and wellness sites, bars, breweries and beer festivals, and bridal websites. I love this idea because guests at a high-end destination wedding would probably love to visit an oxygen bar as part of a bachelorette party or their post-wedding recovery. Next, we have a pretty typical and straightforward SEO question. List 5 keywords you want to rank for in the SERPs. You can see that some of this client's answers, like hangover and alternative medicine, are pretty broad, which is often to be expected. You may need to temper these early expectations by coaching the client a bit on search intent and how it relates to the sales funnel. Remember that they may never have used a tool like Keyword Explorer to see what terms people are actually searching for. Don't ignore their desired keywords, but alter them based on what you believe is plausible and what types of searches will actually be instrumental in growing sales. Here are a few more questions related to link building and PR, and that will also help you think about tone, branding, and content writing. These answers about industry associations, related publications, and trade shows and other events will not only give you some ideas for link building outreach, they'll also give you some opportunities to get to know the client a little better. If you look into the organizations and publications mentioned in these answers, you can learn what kind of language is used in various related industries and what kind of personality you might want to convey. Questions 20 and 21 dig a little deeper into the client's existing sales funnel. By asking about recurring customer behaviors, we can start to map out a typical conversion path and nurture customers toward further conversions more intelligently. You can see that in this example, we added an extra note to question 20 to prod the client into a slightly more informative answer. They've also let us know that they're getting good customer reviews and good traction on social media, so we may not need to focus too heavily on those areas since they're already functioning organically. And here's the final question, another pretty straightforward one. By asking whether the client is already using Google AdWords for PPC ads, we can gain a lot of information. Looking at a client's Google Keyword Planner account tells you what keywords they're already bidding on and which ones have been most successful, which is obviously great to know for SEO. If their paid campaigns haven't been doing so well, that may be a sign that the client needs to overhaul some of their top landing pages or rethink their keyword strategy. And once you start to see some success with content-driven SEO, you can give the client an extra boost by sharing your keyword insights with the paid search team, whether that's on the agency side or the client side. Okay, we've made it through the new client questionnaire. Once you've received some answers, you're ready to create a comprehensive SEO strategy and present it to your client. In the conclusion of this course, we'll go over what we've learned, and you'll have a chance to quiz yourself on the client onboarding process.